I know what you were thinking. Dyson, you have already brought out another upgraded Airwrap. I myself only just bought the Dyson Airwrap ID literally 10 months ago, so not even a year ago now. But Dyson have already brought out a new updated version, which is the 2x Coanda. This is supposed to be 2 times the air pressure, so it's going to deliver faster drying and apparently even better curling. I'm going to give you my honest thoughts and opinion on whether it's worth upgrading and getting this one before you go and drop £580 on it. Let's get into it. Hi and welcome back to my channel, or hello and welcome if you are brand new here. My name is Chloe Swift. I'm a professional hairstylist and hair care expert. I am so excited to bring this video out. This has literally just come out, so it's been out in the US, I'd say 2 weeks before the UK. So you get that classic Dyson box, the really nice storage box. This comes in, I think this shade is called Jasper Plum. Okay, lid off. So there's a little instruction leaflet, because this is also an ID curl version, meaning that it is Bluetooth and it hooks up to your phone, so it automatically goes into your cool shot mode. I will link my video before where I first linked my Dyson Airwrap ID and kind of the setting up of that and how I was getting used to using it. But basically, yeah, it goes into cool shot mode automatically, and it remembers settings like the heat and the timings for your hair type, your hair length, your hair density. So it is super clever. It's good to know this is basically also an ID curl version. It does that exact same thing with the Bluetooth. So the shade of this tool is called Ceramic Pink with Rose Gold. The only other shade you can buy at the moment is the Jasper Plum, so literally the same shade as then the storage case that it comes in. Then this is my Rose Gold Airwrap ID. And even just looking at like first impressions and kind of the differences in just appearance wise, you can actually see the new Coanda x2 is marginally shorter, and also I would actually say it's marginally smaller in like diameter. And the biggest difference I've just noticed is with the plugs. So the previous Airwrap ID comes with just this normal little size plug, but then it does have like a battery pack here, which just kind of makes then this less small, and yeah, you're storing a lot of kind of storage down here rather than in the actual tool. Whereas the new 2x Coanda, the plug is huge. It's actually the same plug as the Dyson Airstrait, so everything is stored in there and there's no additional like battery pack on the wire, and then it keeps this super lightweight. So yeah, I think even just holding them, it's a very, very small difference, I will say that. But this new 2x Coanda is just slightly narrower in your hand, which should just make it easier to kind of just use. And I would say like marginally lighter. The next obvious visual difference you'll be able to see is just kind of the buttons setup and layout. So on the new 2x Coanda, they've actually moved the heat and then the speed settings down here, whereas obviously on any other previous Airwrap, your heat and your speed settings are up here. And I've got to say, I think I'm going to really like that feature, because honestly, there's so many times when I'm using it and it isn't super obvious when you're just in the mirror and you're using this. You don't really know out of these two which one's like speed or which one's heat. So I'm always turning like the speed down instead of turning the heat down, for example, when I do just want to manually use the buttons. So I think actually moving them down there, and the fact that they're not like these slidey buttons, I really think that's going to help with not accidentally switching the buttons if like you weren't meant to. And then they've got a blue button here, which I am just assuming is going to be your cool shot button if you do want to manually turn on the cool shot. And then just turning it around to the back. So the previous Airwrap, this lock button for the attachments, you have to push that down, whereas this new one, you actually push it across instead. And we've got 3 brand new attachments with this new Coanda Airwrap. You've got the Air Smooth attachment, you've got an anti-snag loop brush, and then there's a brand new volumizing brush attachment. I'm going to go into depth on every single attachment as and when I'm using it, and then comparing it to my previous Airwrap. And also just to clarify, this is the Airwrap for straight and wavy hair. You can get a different version which is for curly and coily hair types, and that will then include your diffuser. There's a new comb attachment, and Dyson showed me both of those. They both look amazing. In fact, I actually think I want to order the diffuser attachment separately if I can. I've not looked into it yet. Okay, so hooking it up to your Bluetooth, you want to get the My Dyson app. And you can see my current Airwrap's already there. I just need to add my new Airwrap. There you go, it's found the new 2x Coanda. Then it just says, hold the device close to the phone. And on this one, it actually wants us to hold down the cool shot button, release, and now it's pairing. I think on this one, the pairing procedure is a lot more straightforward, I think, than the last one. A lot of you messaged me on the last one and I struggled a little bit, but just to connect the two, whereas this one's super easy. Right now, it is just downloading a software update though. Whilst we wait for that download, I think we can just set up our styling preferences on here. So this is super straightforward. Just let Dyson know if you have straight hair, wavy hair. To be honest, I think actually, yeah, all of this, my apps just remembered it anyway because my hair is obviously the same as my previous input for my other Airwrap ID. So yeah, select if you have fine hair, medium, coarse hair, because all of these things affect then how you use your Airwrap. So I'm just literally keeping everything the same, and again, that makes it fair because it's the same settings on my other one. Also, you absolutely don't need to be using the ID feature. You don't need the app. You don't even need to set this up if you really don't want to. You can literally just use everything just super manual. And this is really interesting, I think, with the new Coanda Airwrap. You actually can't turn on the tool unless it's got an attachment on. So you see I'm trying to turn it on there, holding down the button, pressing it once. It literally won't turn on like that. That on button is flashing red. We just have to attach an attachment for it to work. I've attached the curling one because the Bluetooth ID kind of mode really is only applicable to the curling ones. It lets you know like just how long to leave it on the hair for, and then automatically goes into cool mode. It doesn't work with the other attachments. I mean, as far as I'm aware, not even with this new one. And then you can see here, so it's just told me every single curl that I'm going to do is going to take me 18 seconds. So it's giving me 7 seconds to wrap, 6 seconds of styling, whereas the heat's actually just held on the hair for, and then 5 seconds of cold shot. So if I don't touch anything, literally that's what this Airwrap is going to do. Before we get into all of that, I'm just going to take this attachment off because I want to prep my hair. I'll show you the new Dyson products, and then I want to use every single attachment, compare them side by side before we get straight into the curling. Dyson have come out with a brand new Omega range, which is especially more for like drier hair types, and honestly I think we can all agree all of us can suffer with dry hair. So all of the Omega range, they are kind of enriched with sunflower oil, and really interestingly enough, the sunflower oils come from Dyson's own sunflower farms. They're across the globe. So the sunflowers in the UK, for example, are grown in a farm in Lincolnshire. Obviously if you're in the US, they would be, I'm sure, different farms like all over the US. So I think that's just a really interesting fact. Not many other brands really call out, I guess, that they own their own farms that really grow the produce. So this is the brand new leave-in conditioning spray, and this also does protect from heat. So I'm really glad, out of like all the products Dyson could have brought out, this one for me like most excites me. And it's kind of like a milky spray, which again I love. Let me just show you. So super fine. I don't even know if you could see that. Let me just spray some on my hands there, but you can see like a really nice light milky texture. So I'm just going to apply that all the way through. And actually before I do that, I am just going to wet my hair down a bit more with some water because it's air dried quite a bit, and obviously Dyson Airwrap does work best on damp hair because it is hot air. Now I'd say you can go in and use quite a lot of that product because also it just sprays out super fine, and it is quite a nice lightweight milk. Next up, going in with the Omega hair oil. I'm so pleased that Dyson have brought out an oil. If you know me, you know I love a hair oil. I love the packaging as well. Apparently this is more of a richer oil, so if you do have finer hair, you just don't need to apply a lot, but as you can see, it comes out like super easy. You could literally just do like 2 drops if you wanted to. Let me start off by putting that much into my hair because I do love an oil. My hair just loves to soak up an oil, but as with all oils, you can apply this into damp hair, which is great before you dry the hair, actually dry and seal it in, but then you can apply a little bit onto dry hair also to finish. A really interesting fact, because literally just on the box it's got this as well. It's got that little sign which said hold your phone to the top of that, so I've just done that. Hold my phone to the top of that, then it literally comes up with a notification and it asks if you want to register this product on your app, and then it will give you like loads of extra tips, tricks, and then it also knows that you're using the product in with your routine. So how cool is that? Look, it gives you how-tos, an overview of the product, literally all the information, any question you probably have about that product, it will literally tell you. I just think that is so clever. So I'm going to do that with all these products. So now we're hydrated, we're protected, but we need that kind of product which is going to give us the hold, the grip, and the style. So more like a styling product. This is brand new to the Kaita-san range. So the Kaita-san range is Dyson's styling range of actual styling product. I always say like hair care and styling is different. You need both. So this is, they're calling it the multi-use styling spray. So you can use it before, you can use it afterwards. Personally, I think I would just use it before, but I can see why they've said to use it afterwards, because I guess they don't have a hairspray or anything. Similar packaging in this spray bottle, really like heavy spray bottle. Give it a good shake, and then you can see again, it's quite a fine mist, but apparently you don't need much of this one in. I think if you were to put too much of this one in, it might go a bit sticky. So I went into the Dyson store in London. I got like a one-to-one and talked through all the products and how they work. The guy who did my hair, he literally sprayed 2 pumps of this. Personally, if you guys watch my videos, you know I like to use products, and I'm not scared to use product either. So I'm personally going to go in with a bit more than he did, but I'm definitely not going to go crazy, because he was like, yeah, it does what you want it to do, basically. It's quite intense. So I'm just going to section my hair. I'm just going to do one, maybe like big sections, and literally just do like 2 sprays in each section, like kind of top, bottom, top, bottom. It definitely has got a bit of a funky smell, this one, I will say that. But it's a super fine spray, which I think is great, because I think most of the problem with products, if the spray comes out really like concentrated and just goes on one section of your hair, then that's when it feels all a bit too much on the hair. Definitely take your brush and brush all of those through so they're just evenly distributed. First attachments we're going to be comparing are the fast drying attachments. So I'm going to do my original Airwrap ID on this side, and I'm just going to go in on high speed and high heat. As you can see, it's super powerful. Does a good job of taking out a lot of that excess water from the hair. I would just say sometimes I don't use this, because compared to this attachment, which is actually the flyaway attachment, and the air just then comes out of there, I find this also dries really quickly, but it helps to smooth better. Sometimes this can just make my hair a bit too frizzy. New Coanda. Oh my god, that is so strong. Even when I just turn that on, honestly, the speed of the air coming out, it like pulls your hand backwards. Honestly, I feel like if I were to let it go, it would like run away. Look. Look. Oh my god, that's so powerful. They were not lying when they said 2 times the air speed. Next, we're going to compare the brush heads. So this is my current brush head. To be honest, I don't really use this brush head at all that often, because I honestly don't get much tension on my hair. The more tension you get on your hair, you'll get a smoother result, and the more tension you are able to get on the hair really just depends on the bristles in the brush. So for me, these just aren't like close enough to actually really pull the hair more taut. And this is the new anti-snag brush on the new Coanda Airwrap. Don't know if you can see that. I'm going to try and hold it in a way that you can, but the row of teeth on each end, so they're actually curved round on the ends. So I think this obviously must mean it's not going to get stuck in your hair, because that's why it's called the anti-snag brush. But also you can just tell I'm going to be able to get so much more tension on the hair here, because the bristles are more tightly compact. There's a lot more bristles, and also I just love how, yeah, they've got a really nice kind of flex to them as well. All these teeth in the middle, they're actually like little loops. It's not like a bobble end. So you see how this brush, they've just got bobble ends, like very stereotypical hairbrush. These ones here is literally like a tiny little loop in the end, which is very intriguing and very cool. And yeah, you can see how they're able to move and really bend as well. We'll start off with this one. Now Coanda. Definitely more tension and more smoothing effect on the hair. I think that's going to be a great brush for those of you who say you love to smooth out your hair before you then go in with the curling ones. And I just want to touch on this attachment. That's the brand new Air Smooth attachment. So I've seen some people try and do like a full damp to dry look, almost using this as like the Dyson Airstraight. I can see why they're doing that. It does kind of look a bit like Dyson Airstraight, and that you can straighten with it. It's actually more so a finishing tool. So really just to use it on dry hair. I guess say if you have used that smoothing brush, then you can just do this on dry hair just to really minimize any frizz, flyaways. The Dyson team, they actually advised me that and told me that. So I won't be using using this on damp hair today. Even in the app, this does literally describe it as that finishing tool and show you exactly how to use it there. But I think if we do another tutorial with a straight look, then absolutely I can show you this one and how that works. I love the round brush attachments. I love this one in particular. This one is super wide and super large. So before this Airwrap ID version came out, there wasn't a round brush that was as big and as wide as this one. I love how this is basically literally just like a hairbrush. Like the bristles on it are literally the same as like a round hairbrush. But then again, saying that, this is so big, it really creates those more looser looks. I do wish, and I've always said, I just want like a smaller version of this to get a slightly tighter look. And then here we are. This literally came along. The teeth are different, but you can literally see the size difference. It's really big. It's a really big like size comparison. And also something the Dyson team did point out, this little kind of like cool tip at the end. They've changed the shape of that because they noticed that when people were holding the brushes and styling them, people do like to like grab hold of the end. And then let's just have a look at the teeth here. So the teeth here are literally like the exact same material and flex and bend as the anti-snag brush. So yes, they're a lot more durable. It's not like the hairbrush teeth, which are slightly softer. These are harder and more durable, but they still have plenty of flexing. So I'm already looking at this and thinking I'm definitely going to be able to get more tension from this brush, and also I should be able to get a slightly tighter look because it's just not as wide. Yeah, let's compare these two brushes. I definitely think those results speak for themselves. This brush is just so loose because it's just so big. It gives that really relaxed, bouncy look. Whereas this, the tension is amazing. I think just the bristles are quite deep as well. So your hair really sits quite close in the brush. It just pulls that tension really well. So it smoothed my hair out really well and just giving it a really nice, more defined curl. Let me show you just the brushes again. I'm going to use them slightly differently and use them more kind of big, bouncy techniques. So that's using that brush, kind of more bouncy blow dry, and you can see I've got a lot more volume just by using it and doing that technique there. Let's just do the same on the other brush on the other side. And you can see, even though it was definitely tighter in my hair, but I didn't struggle at all with like removing the brush from the hair. For those of you who might worry about like it getting stuck and it getting tangled, just look at the difference in that. I definitely feel you're getting more smoothing benefits from this brush, and also, as I said, just that slightly tighter defined look, whereas this is just, particularly on my hair, it's just very loose. Both of these have a 40mm curling wand. The thing that I do love about this Dyson Airwrap ID, it's so long. And I think when it first came out, everyone was loving the fact that it was longer because a lot of us have got long hair and just makes it easy to wrap around without all of the hair overlapping each other. Now it's gone back to a shorter version. Personally, I think that must be like a tech decision to get it to work as fast and as best it can. It just needs to be a little bit smaller, is just my guess. There's the size comparison between the two. Another really interesting fact, Dyson did mention that because so many people still kind of struggle with this, moving it back and forth on this one, and I think if you're like away in the mirror, so even now my mirror's like over here, I can't see too closely. I think sometimes you're like, hang on, have I moved it that way? And even when it does click this one left and right, it's so subtle. It's not obvious sometimes where you are turning it and rotating it. So now what they've done on the new Coanda ×2, which I think is super helpful just for us all, it's got that new cool tip which I mentioned earlier, so kind of easier to grab. So that twists it and it's so much more obvious now. So you see even there's like a much bigger gap between the two arrows, and it is just super obvious which way you're turning it now. I will still say my same tip applies. When you are applying the curling wand, make sure you're just applying it, the arrows pointing to your mirror, because if you attach it this way, for example, then it is just still blank when you're looking at it in the mirror. So yeah, still just make sure you're applying it, arrows pointing towards the mirror this way around. I'll do 2 curls on this side with this air wrap, and then I'll move over to the other side. Something I did just completely forget to do then was actually use it in the ID curl mode. That's another thing. I need to obviously check how the ID curl mode works for this one. I don't think you need to do anything, hopefully. I think you can just tell when the curling wand attachment's on. But for this one, for example, if you actually want to use the curl ID mode, that's why I actually always forget about it, and then I just end up doing it manually. But not only do you turn it on, but you have to slide up that switch. Let me just do that again, and then I'll use the ID curl mode. Actually, a few questions I have read on my other videos to do with ID curl mode. You don't actually need the app running and your phone on you. Like, you don't need to watch the countdown, no. But say if you do have the app open and running, it will just show you like the countdown. So it will show you how long you've got to wrap, how long it's then on cool shot, and you kind of just know the modes it's doing. You need it nearby you, but you don't need it open and on to actually be able to work. I absolutely love these curls. Just super big, bouncy. I think definitely the 40mm curling wand is a favorite one for all of us. Really lovely results. I am glad they've kept the exact same curling wand in terms of just width and actual style we'll be able to achieve with it with this new version. Let's see how much more powerful these curls are going to be. Also, apologies for the sudden change in lighting, guys. Seeing as it is officially autumn in the UK now, it's September, you've got typical British weather. It has gone so dark and it is just suddenly pouring it down. So yeah, apologies if this lighting is all over the place today. Wow, guys, did you see that? So I think, yeah, it was so much more obvious which stage you were in when using this one, because, well, it's kind of more obvious, like the little dip in quietness between when it changes, and also when it was in the cool shot mode, this button actually goes blue. To go into the curl ID mode, you don't do anything. It literally, it's that clever. It can tell it's got the curling wand attachment on, and then the curl ID mode literally just works. Obviously the other one you have to flip it up, quite annoying, and I forget to do it. I'm really impressed. Okay, so let's see the results again of this section. It's actually taken me so much quicker, so I could probably go in the app settings and like reduce down the time that it actually then is under like the wrapping time. Let's do another section up so we can still see a few more of these curls with a 40mm wand. I was not expecting the differences to be that huge. The power, how much better ID curl mode is. If you can hear the rain, by the way, it's like thunder and lightning at the moment, it's torrential. But yeah, if you fancy a laugh, I will link down below my video where I first tried this Airwrap ID, and honestly, I was so flustered. For someone who is a hairstylist and knows how to use hair tools pretty well, I'd say, it got me really flustered. And I think because you know there's a countdown timing then how long you're wrapping, but because it isn't, well, I wouldn't say it's not that powerful, but now obviously using the Coanda ×2, they're miles apart. This is literally half the power than what the Coanda ×2 is. So because it isn't as powerful as that one, now I can see, but it wasn't wrapping the hair around that quickly was my issue. So then I got flustered and like had to increase the time that it took to wrap and things like that. And honestly, I just think for those of you who are complete novices with your hair and like you really struggle getting on with tools, I honestly do not think you're going to struggle getting on with this at all. It's so intuitive and just does it for you. We're going to be using the last attachment which we've got left in our box, which is the smallest, narrowest curling ones. For the original Dyson Airwrap, it's the conical curling wand. So it's chunkier at the base, more narrow at the end. I'm not usually a fan of the conical wands. I just prefer it where the width, whatever width you get. So even if you want this kind of skinnier, more narrow width, I just want that consistently down the barrel. So my curls are just consistent in size. Whereas technically you're going to have a looser root here and a tighter end, but this curling barrel does give quite nice tight curls if it's a tighter look you're after. And yeah, it's as if Dyson listened to my prayers with wanting a more just symmetrical barrel, just like that one, just smaller. They delivered it with this new Coanda ×2. So this is the 30mm barrel, symmetrical from base to tip, but yeah, obviously just smaller compared to your 40mm, so it's going to give you tighter curls. As usual, start with this side first of all with original Airwrap ID curl. Super curly on my hair, like little noodles. Coanda side now. One big feature actually I've not called out yet, but between the ID curl modes, so as I've mentioned with this original ID curl mode, you need to swipe that up to actually get ID curl mode on, and then you don't turn it off and turn it down between the different curls. It almost just, you let it keep running, so it's constantly got this slow like air blow coming out of it, quite quiet, like it's always on, whereas this doesn't have that at all. So let me just show you the differences. So let me just do ID curl mode. We turn it on by going up here, just on the cool shot mode now, and you see there, so it quietens down, it stops, but then this is it. So you need to leave it like this in between all of your curls, so it's kind of just constantly on, which is, could it annoy some people? But whereas this ID curl mode, you literally just press your on button to get it going, it's just finishing off the cool shot, and then it stops. Like, how much better is that? And I don't know why, but I literally only just like realized it was doing that on this last curl. So even just that is just something that's much nicer to have, I guess. I think what I'm also going to do, because it's just looking a bit random at the moment because I've got these looser pieces underneath and the tighter ones on top, let me just go back through with these tighter curling wand attachments, and I'm just going to add some tight ones underneath, and then I'll come back. Just a quick 5 minutes and I've gone through any loose bits underneath, but I still kept with like original ID curl on this side, Coanda on this side. And literally all I'm going to do is just rake my fingers through just to kind of dress these curls out now. I'm not going to go in with any more product. You can say you told me so. Yes, the products are rich. I actually don't think though, this wasn't too sticky. I think I applied a sensible amount of this one, but I definitely think with the Omega, the leave-in conditioning spray, and then the oil, they are very nourishing and hydrating. I probably just put a bit too much of that in, maybe just the leave-in conditioning spray. I did put a bit too much of that one in. But for those of you who do have super dry, more coarse hair, those of you who are curly, coily, I think you are absolutely going to love those products. I just think for those of us who are finer to medium hair types, we just need to be on the side of caution. But you know, they did tell me, I just like to break the rules. Nice clean hands, I've given them a fresh wash. I'm just going to rake my fingers through original ID curl. So long as the hair is just all cooled down, it's fine to then rake your hands through and start dressing it out a little bit. This side is slightly tighter, but that is because of the conical curling wand. And obviously, yeah, it's so much more narrow here. So you're just gonna get a slightly tighter curl with this side. And then here, just so much more like symmetrical and even more roots to tip, which I just prefer this kind of look. Completely a personal choice thing. I still do think, I'm sure, so say if you do love this one, I'm sure you could still order this attachment separately and then still just apply it onto this. Well, I don't know, saying that, would this new Coanda x2 recognize, because it recognizes and it goes into ID curl mode when it recognizes the attachments on? That's something I need to look into. Bear with me, I will get back to you guys with an official answer on that one. And then I am just gonna go in with a little bit of texture spray on both sides just to, you know, finish it, make it look a bit nicer. And because I do need a little bit of more airy and a slight mattness, because I have probably put a bit too much of those products in. So this is the Living Proof Full Dry Volume Texture Spray. There we go, literally nothing, a bit of dry texture spray, can't fix, I'm back on track again. Final thoughts and conclusion. I mean, I mentioned it earlier, I was not expecting the difference in performance to be as quite dramatic as it was. This is honestly literally twice as powerful as this Airwrap. I think any issue or bugbear that I had with this Airwrap ID curl, whether it was like getting it set up initially, getting my head wrapped around the fact I felt like I had to be really quick and get it wrapped around before then my styling speed counted down, but then I felt like I was struggling slightly with that because actually wasn't wrapping the hair around that quickly. So yeah, any bugbear or pain point that I had with this one has honestly been solved with this one. I guess because this was the first Airwrap ID curl that came out where Dyson had hooked it up to Bluetooth and were working with the app. I guess you're always going to have some sort of like bugs or issues and things they want to fix and tweak, so there's always bound to be an improvement. Did I love this Airwrap 2x Coanda? Yes. Am I saying you do need to go out and buy it and replace this Airwrap ID with this one? No, I'm definitely not saying that, because like I'm so aware these are very valuable, quite pricey tools. And let's just be honest, I think before this one came out, before I'd used it, before I was even aware of it, I was in love with this one. And it's something that I always reach for and always go to. My favourite attachments are the bigger, the 40mm curling wand, and then the big, large volumizing brush. I was always using those. So no, I love this tool. It wasn't something that I was like ready to replace. But for any of you guys, if you do get the chance and you like have this in your hand, you get to try it out in store, I think you'll instantly see just how much better this is. The main things I love, as I've covered, I love how the heat and the speed have just moved down here. It's going to stop anyone from accidentally switching these buttons when they didn't mean to. And throughout this whole video, as I've been using this, I haven't even touched those anywhere. I've literally just been using everything in the ID curl mode. And I think that's how Dyson have designed it. They've designed it that literally this does everything for you, which I'm super pleased about, because this is why I was just quite confused when this first came out. I was thinking I'm still doing quite a lot of things. For my next video, I'll definitely be using this and doing a full tutorial. So let me know which attachment you want to see, and I'll purely just focus on that one attachment, show you how to use it and show you the full end result. And yeah, if you are looking to upgrade, invest in a tool, perhaps you didn't actually get the last upgrade, so perhaps you actually don't even have the ID curl version anyway, 1000% I would recommend this. I think you're gonna love it. Or if you do have the original ID curl version, like I'm sure the resale market is so hot at the moment, you can sell it online if you are looking for more funds just to then fund the brand new purchase. But yeah, it's not a must to replace it, but definitely if you do replace it, I think you will love seeing the benefits. As usual, if you like this video, if you learned anything new, I'd really appreciate giving this video a thumbs up and subscribe, because I bring you videos like this every single week. As I say, next week is going to be a tutorial using the brand new Dyson Coanda x2, so make sure you're back for that one. And yeah, have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you next week. Bye guys.